I'm busy consummating an international marriage here. I've got a Frenchie, the 59 Renault body, and a German, the 71 Beetle floorpan. I'm not sure which one is the male and which one is the female. I'll leave that up to you. And I certainly do hope that I understand the English language correctly and that consummate means to complete. So I'm just rigging up some lights here so I can see what I'm doing. And I think you will agree with me that this shot certainly shows where the focus will be today. I see some new faces in the shop. So welcome you guys. My name is Diff, as in difficult or differential, except I'm neither. And you've actually ended up in South Africa. Yes, very much in the news these days, all over the world. And it's a place where some of us, like me, ignore all the controversial politics and we just build cars. Some people don't like it, but my sign on the wall says it all. I've already installed the one floor there on that side, so let's do this one. I made these panels in a previous video. I'll stick a link up here on the screen if you want to see how I did that. So this floor panel now needs to go in there. Previously I welded in these flanges or lips, one here and one along there. So the panel will sit on that and then bolt down. But to create the seal and to prevent water from coming in, I'm going to first make a rubber gasket that will sit on this flange all the way around. I've got this rubber sheet. It's 1.5 millimeters thick. So I'm going to cut myself some gaskets from this. So a width of 25 millimeters will do me just fine. That is 1 inch if you're imperially inclined. And this piece of Boilermaker's chalk. It's the only thing I can find here now that will actually make a mark on this rubber. I made my little hole punch from just a length of tubing that I grinded the bevel on there on the end. This particular one is made from a piece of, I think it's 5/16 fuel line. Yeah, and as you can see it works very well. What is a good thing to do is to use a piece of hardwood as a backing instead of softwood, because I find the softwood's just got too much give when you whack it with a hammer, and then it doesn't cut as well. But the hardwood backing, that works very great. For this last S-shaped piece here, I just made myself a paper template, and then once I got that, I could cut out the rubber one, which now goes in like that. Yes. Okay, lekker man, so I've got all my rubber gaskets made all the way around, and I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue them into place before I fit the floor. That will just make my life so much easier, then they won't slip around. So yeah, let's do that. A little bit of contact adhesive will do the job just fine, I reckon. I'll get some of this sticky stuff all over the place. A little bit in here as well. We can let that dry and then we can stick it all together. I think my contact adhesive is a little old. Look, it's making strings. Anyway, it will do. Right, good old contact adhesive, eh? One chance, and then you are committed. Okay, so far so good. Yeah, so it's not like I'm aiming to do this perfect glue job. I mean, all I actually want the glue to do, string, is to hold the rubbers in place, the gaskets in place, while I fit that floor section, so it just doesn't slip around. And after that, the bolts will obviously do the job. Okay, so my new rubber gaskets are in place. Let's get this floor panel in here. And a little bit of careful aiming. Yes, just gotta line it up. Line up my bolt holes and bolt it down. Right. Thank you, Mesco Engineering Supplies, for all my shiny new fasteners. Yes. So just now I've just got to get the whole pile of these little cap screws in place. And we have a floor, sir. So you know, something just popped into my mind now. The other day I taught Wayne something. When you fit something like this with multiple fasteners, get all of them started before you tighten any one down. That will allow the piece to move around a little bit so you can get them all started and located. And only once they're all in, then you tighten things down. Now this floor of mine here is not only there to prevent your feet from getting wet, it also has a structural job because it connects the Renault body to the Beetle floor pan. There on the center tunnel of the floor pan I welded on that flat bar. So this floor plate is bolted to that, and then along here you'll see there's the structural integral chassis business part that is part of the Renault body. Piece of flat bar was welded on there as well, bolted on this side too, so now it connects the whole business together. So this here is one of the body mounts in the back. This here bracket I made from 6mm 1/4 inch plate. It's welded to the structural part of the Renault body, and then this bolt here goes right through into the existing or rather original body mount of the Beetle floor pan. So if I tighten this down, we'll have a good connection point in the back here, I reckon. Another strong connection point here. This is all part of the original Renault, how do you say it? So this ties into the structural member that I keep talking about. Underneath the floor here, there's a piece of structural steel that I welded in, connected to this, and then there's a big fat ass bolt right here that bolts all of this to the center tunnel of the Beetle floor pan right here as well. Up front here, here's that structural part. Once again, you see there's a big ass bolt there, there's a bolt there. So behind this is a cross member that I welded to the Beetle tunnel. So we bolted there and there as another connection point of bolting this body to that thing. And then last but not least, we've got these two M10 bolts that is bolted in exactly the same way as on an original Beetle to these mounting points on the front suspension. And yeah, these things are tied with this structural member that is welded to the chassis rail of the Renault. Yes, so if you think about it, this little yellow shell is actually attached to the floor pan in a very similar way in which a Beetle body was attached to the floor pan. So I don't think it will go anywhere. Would like to get my steering column in place next, and that bolts to the dashboard. So I need to fit that first. It bolts on right there. But I haven't painted it yet, so I can't do that. I think what I'm going to do though is I'm just going to give it a test fit, just to check things out. Well, then good thing I did that, because once I had it in place, I realized I had no space for switches. So I fabricated this little panel here and welded that on to take 12-volt outlet so mommy can charge the cell phone, wiper switch, emergency flasher, headlight switch, and a spare right there possibly for spotlights or something. If you look at the rest of the little bash, this here is obviously the glove box, or cubbyhole as we call it. Here we can fit a radio. I'm hoping to find a nice old school radio to pop in there. Up here the original little ashtray goes in. And then here you might remember I bought this to take the Beetle Speedo to go in there. Yes, that turned out quite nicely, I think. Now the wifey will be able to see very clearly how slow she is going. So there's not much other space for any switches. Yeah, I think I did see the original Renault switch in a box. Let me go scratch that out and show you what that looks like. So here's that original Renault switch. A rather strange looking contraption if you ask me. I'm not really sure where it fitted or even how it works. And I don't have internet here in my shop to quickly go and look it up. Looks like it could have mounted on the dash. It's got a curved surface here. And then it's got this long, strange, stick out protrusion stem like thing right here. And then look at this, lots of different positions that switches. So I would imagine it was a sort of a multifunctional switch. Lots of connection points here on this side. And if you press this, it also makes contact there, so I would imagine that's your headlight dim and bright. Yeah, interesting, but rather strange. No offense to anybody, but it is a typical French move. So yeah, I'm not going to use it. I think it's not going to really suit my current dash setup. And I don't like the fact that this thing sticks out so much. So yeah, we will just keep it here for the sake of collecting strange old school things. Yes, so like I said, I've got no idea where this used to mount. possibly somewhere in this area where I have now added this bit, because this wasn't here before, remember? Yeah, maybe here next to the original steering column, something to that effect, I don't know. But if you're really keen, I'm sure Professor Google will be able to tell you. But now that I do have my little dashboard temporarily in place, I'm thinking now about things that need to happen behind it. You know, like fuse box mounting, relay brackets, and such like things. So I think whilst I'm at this stage, I'm going to do something about that. So I came out here to the poor old rusty donor Beetle, and I'm busy salvaging some parts in there. I took out the fuse box, all the switches, relays, and so I reserved the right to come back later and get some of this wire as well, because I am a miser after all. And why buy if I can salvage? I cleaned up the old Beetle fuse holder. I made myself a bracket from some off-cut plate, and I even painted it, can you believe it? And brand new fuses. So I've got that mounted right there. It will sit underneath the glove box, kind of behind the dashboard, so you won't really see it, but still accessible from below to change fuses and out of the way of legs. So I did not want it coming through the firewall the way it is on a Beetle, because I don't want to see any wires in here. There's little enough space up here in this little frunk as it is. Now I'm thinking, while I've still got the dash out and I can access here from the inside, I must do something about this little air flap, because that hinge is broken off. So there's nothing keeping it in place at the moment. Now I could just screw it down and be done with it. But I think it will be quite cool if I can make it go open and close the way it was. So I'm going to try and make a hinge and some sort of mechanism that we can have it closed or open. Old school air conditioning. While I still have it out, it's easy enough to scrape off this old rotten rubber and replace that. So let me do that quickly, then it's done. There you go, man. Lick of paint, some of this stick-on sponge rubber, and it should seal well and hopefully last for a while. I folded up a hinge here from a piece of scrap, length of wire for a hinge pin, and it is hinging. Let's go see how it's going to work out. Let's give it a quick rattle can spray job to stay with the program here. In a shocking display of ignorance, I simply bolted on my hinge bracket, and now you've got these two bolt heads showing on the outside. Oh no! Look, man, it's just a ratty little car. I really don't give a damn. I can paint them yellow if you want. And in my defense and to my credit, look there, I've got the slots on those bolt heads lined up. So that's something. But it works. So that's good. Now I've just got to figure out a bracket lever of sorts to keep it closed and to hold it open.
Much later.
I got something figured out. Basically just a simple over-center lever, because simple engineering is just the best, man. Took me a while to get the geometry right, but it's working fine now. So if I pull it, flap goes open. I've got a rubber washer in here to get a little bit of friction so that it will stay open. And if I close it, nice positive action. It pulls the little flap nice and tight down onto the rubber gasket there. Yeah, it looks like it seals nicely. Yeah, I'm happy with it. And all of this will be hidden behind the dashboard that sits here. And if you sit on the seat, you will just be able to see the lever, and it's possible to reach it as well. Remember, this little car is tiny, eh? So while I'm busy playing with sheet metal, let's make a bracket for relays and such like things as well. Okay, so I can attach this to the firewall underneath the dash. Here's my salvage Beetle headlight relay, so that needs to clip in there. Yes, that's going to sit like that. I've also got a flasher unit that I also salvaged from that poor old Beetle. That'll mount there somewhere. And then here I haven't got any relays at the moment. I think I would like to install a relay for the starter and a relay for a spotlight, and then maybe a main fuse as well. We'll see. Let's just test this Bosch 5-point relay quickly to make sure that it still works. Okay, so I've got my relay wired up for testing. Got a double filament bulb here. One end is connected to negative. And these two go to the supply point, not the supply points, to the switch points of the relay. On this side we've got power going to the supply point of the relay, not connected to the battery yet. And this side it's also connected to the coil part of the relay. So if I connect power here, that will be the same as switching on the headlights. So let's see. Headlight switch on. Aha! We've got a bulb burning. Now, if I touch earth or negative to the other side of the coil in the relay, we should switch to brights. Let's find out. Ah, yes, brights and dim. So this is then connected to the dipper switch, dim and bright switch. Dip or dim, bright, dim. It's working just fine, man. Amazing to think that this, pretty much, yeah, it's got the VW logo on it, so it's the original Bosch relay. So it must have been in this car for many, many years, and it's still working just fine. Unlike some of these modern crappy plastic relays you buy these days. Headlight switch off. Here's a close-up of the 5-point Bosch relay. If you're interested in these sorts of things, let's quickly go through them. Number, the red wire there, that is a positive power supply to the internal solenoid coil part of the relay, connection point 30. Then the black wire, that is connection point S, would be the negative part, and it gets switched via your dip switch. Now these three connection points here, that's the internal switch of the relay. The red and white, or not red and white, the black and white in the back there goes to connection point 56. And this will supply power to the internal switch coming from the headlight switch. So if I put the headlight switch on, power comes in there. And then these two wires will go to your headlight lamps or bulbs. One is dim and one is bright. The yellow on connection point 56A and the white on connection point F. There you go. Okay, just a test fit here on my relay panel. Now that looks good. So I still need to pick up the other relays next time I go to town, and I still have to paint it. But so far so good. Yeah, that Murphy guy, eh? Always looking in the background. And then you have to drop your tiny little M4 nut on the ground and crawl around trying to find it with your bad eyes. Where are you? Ah, I got you, you little bastard. Yeah, and since the topic is brackets, I still have to make a bracket for the brake fluid reservoir that I also salvaged from the Beetle. Brackets here, brackets there, brackets everywhere. I'm thinking right here, behind this, it'll get a little protection there. Yes, I think that's a good spot for it. Something like that.
1 hour later.
And so, a little exercise in origami. This one hooks in like that there. And then it goes over that little bolt right there. Come now, can I have your, there we go, something like that. So let's see, this goes in there. Line it up, there we go. And this fellow then sits across the top of it. And it holds it nicely in place. On this side I've got two studs to bolt it in there. Yep, I get some paint on this and then we can mount it. Right, another bracket in place, and that's not going anywhere. So the reason why I've got this strap across the top, because on the standard Beetle, this little bottle has got these plastic ears on either side, but the one had broken off and the other one was rather suspect, so I just cut them off completely and made my little bracket across the top. Now my little bottle is firmly held in place and it can't go anywhere. We now have a brake fluid reservoir, so soon we'll be able to bleed the brakes. Now to take the front wheel off here, to get in here to install the line that goes down to the brake cylinder in there, but now it's done. I've got a little P-clip here that holds it nicely in place and it's nice and firm, it's not going to go anywhere. I make these little P-clips myself. There's a link here on the screen if you want to see a video about how I make my little P-clips. Cool. Well, it would seem to be a brilliant day for bracketry, and I still have to do something here, so we might as well get into that. So I need to come up with a solution here for my petrol pedal, gas pedal. I've already cut off the original bracket, or whatever you call this, lever. There's very limited space here with this wheel well. So I need to bring this back some, and then come up with a way that you can obviously step on it, the gas. And yeah, I guess this must be looking quite strange to my friends in the US, with all of this sitting on the wrong side as far as they are concerned, on my little right hand drive. So let me see what I can do here. I need to extend this and bring it back, and then yeah, let's see. So after a lot of messing around, I came up with this extension piece of round bar, a little bit of pipe here that can slip over the existing lever here on this side. I hold it on a nut and a little bolt so I can tighten it and lock it into place. Also made a small roller from a piece of, I think it's acetal or something like that. That slips on there. Yeah, now we've got a little roller. So let's go see how it works out. My little gizmo can now slip on like that. I can lock it into place with this screw down here. Like this, I think. Yes. So the reason I did it like this was it just made it easier to get the shape of this whole thing right. Because I could come and stick it on and try it, and if I see I needed to bend it a little bit more or extend it a little bit more, I could take it off again, take it to the vise and do what I needed to do to it. Now that it's, yeah, I think it's good now. You see, like I said, I need to get past this inner well. There's very little space here, so the original setup wouldn't have worked. And now that it's right, I guess there's no need for it to be removable anymore. So I could even give it a little tack down there if I think it's necessary. We'll see how this locking screw holds it. I did grind a little flat spot on that little lever down there, so it can't rotate anymore. So I think it'll be good. So yeah, that works well enough. But I wanted a pedal here, so I came up with this bracket. A little hinge down there. So if I stick a bolt in here to kind of just hold it in place. Let's get this fellow in there quickly. Then we can see how well it works. It should be good now. Alright, just one bolt for now to test it. Yes, it's working well. I'm happy with that. You see, because now this gives me the option to just rest your foot on the floor there, and you can give gas. And I think it's quite tight here, but I think there's enough space between the pedals, so it will be fine. You can see it's just clearing this very tight inner fender well. Yes, this is going to work. I'm happy with that. Now I guess I need to take it all off again and quickly paint it. And I can install it for final. So it wanted to flip backwards. So to prevent that from happening, I welded on that little tab down there. So that prevented the complications of a return spring. And now there's no possibility of it going in the wrong direction. Final bracket in this round, just something simple to hold the battery in place. Just a piece of aluminium flat bar that I found here, bent it up. And now my little battery can't go anywhere. And while I was here, I quickly installed new battery cables. Made a clip here, also from a piece of aluminium, so that my cables can't move. Cables go through the body here and onto the starter. And I installed some rubber grommets. So So there's no chance of any possible chafe and potential problems that can come from that, which could be a sparky, hotty, flamey situation. Well then, that's the bracket packet done and dusted. I think, knowing how these things go, yeah, who knows, there might be another bracket down the line, but I'm gonna call it done for now. So thanks for hanging out with me, enjoyed your company. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Have a lucky one, my brothers and sisters.
Whatever makes you happy, it just depends on you.